So good morning. This is Raksha here, and I'm going to be presenting a case study of the wild boy Averon. So, the wild boy of Averon was a feral child. The word feral in Latin means undomesticated or a wild animal. Since he depicted characteristics of a wild animal, he was called so. Feral children from a very young age have lived in isolation and remained unaware of their social behavior. They are unexposed to such human languages. There are basically three categories of these feral children: isolated children, confined children, and also the children who are kept away from their family from a very earlier stage. So, isolated children are these particular sect of children who live on their own and are away from human race for various reasons. Confined children are those who have been kept in confined places like cellars, dog kennels, pigsties, and even hen houses. So these and the third category of children are basically the children who are raised by animals. So when we talk about Averon, there is one special case of a girl child called Oksana. So her name was Oksana and she lived in a dog kennel and she was found in 1991. She was 8 years old then and she lived with dogs for 6 years because she was abandoned by her parents who were alcoholics. She ran on four legs, she panted with her tongue out and knew only two words, yes and no. So now, there is a particular theory called the period hypothesis. So, according to the critical period hypothesis, in order to acquire language, there are two components which are necessary. One, obviously, is a human brain, and second is sufficient exposure to a language between the age of 2 years to puberty. So, the critical period hypothesis states that before the age of two, language acquisition is not possible because the brain is not sufficiently mature. After puberty, natural language acquisition is not obtainable because the brain is physiologically matured, due to which their cerebral plasticity is lost. And this is a major feature which actually hampers and also provides a feature for them to acquire language. So these are basically the two necessary requirements to acquire language. Um, the, the second most major concept is nature versus nurture and heritability versus environmentability. So when we talk about nature versus nurture, nature refers to the hereditary factors which not only defines physical appearance but helps in building a child's personality traits. On the other hand, nurture refers to various environmental factors that impact personality traits, childhood experiences, how and where the child is raised, social relationships, and culture. Charles Horton theory on human interaction stated a concept called the looking glass self. So this is basically a method which where a particular child imagines how we appear to those who are around us. They interpret others' reaction towards them and develop a self concept based upon that. This tends to affect their sleeping pattern, eating method, crying, speaking, and even language. Now, rules. So, when we talk about this wild boy Averon, we have to take into consideration few assumptions and rules before we actually analyze why he was the way he was. So, first, what are these rules and how are they represented in the brain? So, when we talk about this, since he was in a very wild nature from the beginning of his years, how would things have been represented in the brain? Does he also understand double meanings? In what form is the knowledge that he knows is represented in the brain? And does obviously this affects the process in which a particular child acquires their knowledge, grammar, and even language? So, Noam Chomsky. So, this person, he focused on vast unconscious set of hypothesized rules which must exist in the minds of the speakers and hearers in order to in order for them to produce and understand their native language. So this is basically an already an inherent character which is there in almost all of us. So Chomsky's he had an abandoned behaviorism. So this behaviorism is a major trait which was found in Averon. So abandon behaviorism. This basically abandons the idea that children represent language by imitation. He rejects this idea that direct teaching and correcting grammar could account for children's utterances because these rules are unconsciously being acquired. So this was the hypothesis which he made, and he also gave a particular concept about the universal grammar. And when we talk about Averron, the researchers then have classified his language acquisition based upon two theories, which is the nativist and the empiricist. So, when we talk about these two theories, we also have to take into consideration his sensitivity. So, the inborn linguistic capacity of humans is sensitive. Language development occurs if the environment provides exposure to the language. So he was only be able to speak 2 3 words, and that too in animal sounds, because he was in such an environment from the beginning. And this not only applies to the concept of speaking, but also the same for walking. That's why though he was a human, he was unable to walk on 2 legs, but even using his hand, like how he did, like how dogs used to. So a universal grammar, the theory, it states that despite superficial differences that all humans share, there is a basic fundamental structure that we all have, and this is called as the universal grammar. So when we talk about grammar, obviously he also must have been having an origin of his language. So which is an evolutionary psychology concept, and with the course of time, this also depends and grows. So the modularity, so language is basically a mechanism which is specifically adapted only for communication. But since he was not able to communicate, he evolved a language gradually by adding new communicative functions with those of animals to the existing neural hardware which he already had. So when we talk about these two views, which added a major research key concept to his case was the nativist and the empiricist view. So, the nativist view was that all humans have an innate linguistic bioprogram which allows one to create languages based upon the input that they are receiving. So, for example, the input that he was receiving was only animal sounds and not hardly any human sounds. So that is why maybe his language would have been affected in such a way. And the empiricist view is basically a language which is used to encode the differences. So when we talk about Aviron, we also have to take into consideration of these four people who we've seen across: Mowgli, Romulus and Remus, Tarzan, and now the case was Victor. So the person who you can see on your slide is Victor. He is also called the Victor of Aviron, and he was captured in January 1800. And he was when in 1800 he was estimated to be about 10 years old. He was not able to speak, he was not able to understand human language, and he preferred raw food. He ripped clothes which were put on to him, and he was termed as an incurable idiot and as a French feral child by most of the researchers. He had numerous scars on his body. So this physician, Jean-Marc Gaspard Itard, took up his case and he studied it thoroughly. So according to him, he ran away from civilization approximately 8 times even after he was captured. So Jean had worked with him for 5 years and gave him the name as Victor. He was a normal child during the time of birth, but he was neglected by his alcoholic parents at a very early age. He was naked, stooped, and his hair was unkempt. His movements were chaotic, and he used to walk on 4 legs. He was deaf. He was not able to reciprocate to any of the communication that he tried to do with him, and he was hairy. So upon a study, a psychiatrist considered him to be mentally ill from birth. However, though Itard said he took up his case and he started analyzing, various researchers and psychologists also took up his case, and there were different views for the same case as well. So the only two words that he was able to pronounce was lead, which was milk, and odu, which means my God. So When we talk about Aviron's case, there is an evolutionary component in that. So, what does this evolutionary component state? It brings us to questions like how did that particular behavior develop in Aviron? A developmental component like how does this behavior develop in infants also? And a mechanistic component that how does a particular human body perform in such a way, or are they mechanized to do that because of their environment? And last was the functional component, which makes us question that why does this individual engage in such a behavior? So now when we talk about Aberon, we also have to talk about this concept of nature versus nurture. So according to nature, he was language deficient because right from the beginning of his early ages, the surrounding where he lived in was a place where there was literally no human language existence, but only sounds of animals and untidiness, animal-like sounds, and insensitivity to temperature, though it was extreme temperatures, even though there was a particular piece of cloth put on him, he was very insensitive to that and he never wanted it. Unattachment to humans, he was scared of humans, he used to run away, and he was more apt to be abandoned. So he always preferred isolation than in company of anybody. And he was also unable to walk upright like humans. So there was a particular study that was conducted on him, and a biology professor called Joseph examined him, and he found out that he was accustomed to exposure and cold. The local government commissioner, Steve, he also observed him and he wrote that there was something extraordinary about Averon's behavior which makes him closely resemble to wild animals. And also, the Society of Observers of Man believed that by studying Averon as well as educating him, they would gain proof to the empiricist theory of knowledge, which we've already discussed before. The relationship between humans and society was being commented upon after studying about Averon. So Averon was not only a case of study for in particular to the field of psychology, but he was more like an enlightenment to the influence of colonialism as well. So the Enlightenment caused many thinkers, including the naturalists and the philosophers, to believe that the human nature was subject that needed to be redefined and it had to be looked at a completely different angle than what it is normally looked at. Victor, he also became a case study in the Enlightenment of debate about the differences about humans in other animals. He was a special case of Homophilus. Now, about Jean-Marc Itard, so he also believed that since he was studying about Averon, he wanted to focus mainly on empathy and language. So he wanted to civilize Victor with certain objectives like teaching him how to speak, how to communicate with human emotion. Victor earlier, he in during the early stages, he showed significant progress in understanding language and reading simple words. But later on, he failed to progress beyond a particular level when it became really hard for him. The only two phrases Victor eventually learned to spell was milk and oh God. So at that time, in Itard's home, the housekeeper, she was setting the table one evening while crying over the loss of her husband. And as we all know, Victor was, maybe we can call him ruthless because he never used to respond to reactions. He never used to, be empathetic. But that evening, he stopped what he was doing and he displayed a behavior of consolement towards her. So this basically reported more progress in it. And language and intellect are obviously correlated in case of Victor because it is proved. And the very question that empty heads, can it be nurtured? It can be nurtured to a certain extent as Victor showed the progress, but beyond a certain extent it cannot be. And it is also said that he has schizophrenia. So basically this is a mental disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly. So it is characteristics by thoughts and experiences that seem out of touch with reality, and it has basically disorganized speech and behavior. It also has a decreased participation in daily activities. So when a person is suffering from schizophrenia, especially people like children like Victor, they had difficulty with concentration and memory power as well. The second thing was infantile psychosis. So, infantile psychosis is another term for autistic disorder, which is a form of autism. It is also known as Scanner's syndrome. It is basically a pathological organization that develops out of the integration of the earliest relationships. So, this is caused in Victor because of his earlier relationships, which he used to maintain with the animals and not with humans. And the next one was autism. Obviously, as many of us know what autism is. Autism is basically it impairs the ability to communicate and interact. It affects the overall cognitive, emotional, social, and physical health condition of a individual. The the second or the this one or the fourth one was called tabula rasa. So tabula rasa was basically a term in psychology which also means as blank slate. So it believes that at birth all humans are born with the ability to become literally anything and anyone. This belief downplays the effect of genetics and biology that we see are a product of upbringing the experiences. So the blank slate basically refers to a technique that was once used heavily in psychoanalysis theory and is still being employed by therapists today. So this basically brings us to the concept of um, nurturing. And in 1828, after all the study was done, Victor died of pneumonia in Paris, in Itard's house. The recent commentary which was made in on Victor after these centuries was a professor stated that she believes Victor displayed signs of autism as we discussed, and he also showed characteristic signs of mental derangement like grinding of teeth. He was not a genuine feral child in Errol's view, because the scars on his body were not the consequences of a wildlife in the forest, but rather of physical abuse at the hands of his parents who initially raised him. There was also a novel in 2003 by Jill Dawson called The Wild Boy, which is based on Aveyron, Victor. And the title novella of the 2010 collection Wild Child and Other Stories was also um, done based upon Victor. So upon the presentation, I feel these are the major questions that we have to be answering upon, or maybe we've also answered through the presentation. The case of Victor raises the question as to what it means to be human. Was Victor a human being when he was found? What exactly does it mean to be a human? Why is it difficult to draw a firm conclusion about Victor's case? This is majorly because of the concept of nature versus nurture, since we're still not able to uh, draw a particular conclusion about Victor. And does the study of Wild Boy also suggest that he was just not um, he was just not the way he was because of the environment he was in, or was it because of his initial days of parenting? Thank you.